All right, we are having a rocky start, but that's all right. Hello, everyone. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to go through Anchor issues. So basically, we have control, or we have the ability to maintain the Anchor repo. And if you may have seen me recently talk about how we can we can make Anchor better, we have to do it very quickly. So we're going to do some of that on stream. And hopefully, other people, if you have issues, feel free to comment them or talk about them. But ultimately, I'm going to go through some issues live because I have time and we can talk about them together. So let me just put out a tweet. The in, all right. So let's just put that. Cool. So we have that put out, and let us get started. All right, so let me share my screen and we can go. But yeah, hello everyone. Feel free to comment. If you don't know how to comment on Twitter, you can just click into the stream and it'll bring up the text, and so you can actually talk on it. But yeah, let's go through it. All right, so this is the Anchor repo. In the unfortunate case, as you can see right here, 406 issues and 104 PRs. It is becoming a little bit of a monstrosity in order to maintain this. But the first order to maintaining it is to clean up these issues and pull requests. Now, there's kind of two ways that you can potentially do this. You could just run a stale bot and just kill everything, which is not the worst idea, to be perfectly honest, especially in the current state of things. However, there might be a lot of gold nuggets in these issues that you want to include in a future update. So if you look at, and good morning to everyone, I think China, Soldati, Priyansh, voice sync delay. Is there really a voice sync delay? I hope not. Great. I got to listen to this myself now. Give me one moment. Wow, there is a voice sync delay. Let's figure out how to fix that. Never had that issue thus far. Appreciate you giving me the heads up on that. Gotta love it. Gotta love the technology. Oh gosh, what is going on? Looks like on my end it shows everything's good. I wonder if it's just something. Here we can do something here actually. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure this out. Otherwise, we're going to run into issues. It's in sync now. Let me check one more time. Hello, Robert. Let me check one more time. All right, perfect. Fixed. Happy, glad that it's fixed. All right, so we're going to go through Anchor issues and we're going to start talking about it. And what we're going to do as part of this is there's this new Anchor 1.0 board that I've been building up. And good morning, everyone. It looks like everybody's joining. I'm glad everybody's so excited about Anchor and making it better. So there's this Anchor board that I've been building up for Anchor V1. It's kind of looking like we might need to get out a different another release before Anchor V1 just to quickly release things to do it faster than rather than waiting till V1 because there are a lot of things starting to get staged up for the next release, but I want to make sure that everything's set up. Anyways, we have this board now. So we're going to try to fill this out. And first off, we're going to go through all these issues. So I spent some time last night creating some of these issues, combing through them and figuring out what is actually good or not. Instead of doing it alone, thought it'd be fun to do it with a crowd. But yeah, and if anything that you come up with and you kind of think of, hey, this might be a great thing to have, or this is an issue I've had with Anchor, would love to have it. Because to be perfectly honest, I am not an expert on Anchor maintenance. I am simply just the steward of it. The experts I am working with, but ultimately I am the steward, and I'm trying to get this repo under control because 104 PRs and six issues is just not maintainable in the current state. But some of the things that I did see when I was going through this is that there was a lot of nice issues that could be nice to haves, like adding compute units logging, for a extra log. Basically, it riddles your Anchor program with logs so that you can do a debug on it and understand where different compute is happening. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff happening in the background, that a lot of good nuggets of information, but we just never got to them. But yeah, let's go through it and hopefully start pushing, uh, start getting rid of some of this stuff. And feel free, if you have feedback or you have something that you wanted to chat about with Anchor, put it in the chat because we'll be going through it. So first off, we're going to start with this one. Parsing cogen breaks on functions with certain structure. This is an issue from 2021. So who knows if it's still alive? Uh, may result in breaking and parsing parameters incorrectly. So the function signature changed. It removed a double reward, um, and so it looks like it removed something from the function whenever they did this, and they did have a reproduction step. Right now, the code is in private. That's not helpful. That's not helpful at all. The Once again, note to everyone: please open source your stuff. You can't move everybody forward if you don't have it open sourced. So they said with fix, they looks like they kind of like shove some information into it. And then without fix, they lost some of the information. So something like a parsing bug, it looks like. Uh, I kind of doubt this still exists because we've done all this whole parsing logic has been rewritten once in the past. So this is probably not anymore. So I'm going to do closes not planned, and we can revisit this later. I might have to create a tag of like revisit or something, so we can see what's going on here. There's a whole bunch of tags that we have here. We probably need to get rid of some of them because there's a lot of just old tags. I'm basically working with these 3 tags. So the one blocker, one nice to have, and V2, but yeah, we won't. Okay, so we're gonna close this one. I don't think it's a bug anymore. We're not gonna But ultimately, like, I'll wait and see if we have some later bugs, and see if we can fix this. Alright, so let's close that one. Let's go to the next one. Unable to correctly handle promise rejections with Anchor RPC calls. Oh, it's the same person, Bone Daddy. I wonder who this is and if they still work on Solana. Yeah, it looks like they have a bunch of they've worked on Light SVM. That's pretty cool, and Hermes. I can probably reach out to this person actually because Hermes is rather new. This is pretty cool. And they have Pinocchio utils. Oh, they work at Range. Okay, this is cool. And they have Okay, this is awesome. So look, I through finding these old, issues, I have found someone that seems to be really cool, that does a lot of awesome Solana development. I'll have to find this person. They don't have any links of who they are, but I can probably figure out who they are based off of talking to people at Range. That's awesome. Alright, so we have unable to correctly handle prompts rejections with Anchor RPC calls. Let's see what this is all about because I have no idea. Alright, so I have a function to invoke our Anchor RPC methods, handle setups, call a function roughly defined. Okay, cool. Then I have a parent function that calls each of these functions in order. Sure. So some simple, TypeScript things. Uh, doesn't okay, that is fine. That's an error we know. The catch statement does not work if undefined. Here's an example log. Let's see. Harvesting vault. Where's their code? They didn't give us enough code here. So they didn't have an undefined. It's because it's not undefined, right? It would be actual transaction error. So it should have gone to the else. What actually happened here? Did it just skip? It looks like it might have just skipped. Doesn't work for error satisfied. I don't think this is a bug. I think this is a different issue. We're gonna close this, um, and we will get back to it later. I might have to go ask. It might not be a problem anymore. Upgradable accounts. Now, so this is actually a very good point. That was I saw that would be really nice to have. It's to have accounts be able to be upgraded from one account to the other. Basically, let's actually pull up this draw. Basically, this is a problem today with Solana, and you can see all of my notes here. Basically, this is a problem today where Solana, if you have a V1 account, so this is account V1, and you want to move from account V1 to V2, right? There's a lot of things that people do to make this move. They end up like if okay, so let's take for example how Metaplex does it, right? What they end up doing it is they have another set of instructions that are all versioned, and they work on each other. So that's one way of doing it. So that in order to upgrade accounts, you basically have to do this instruction set that are also V1, V2. That's one way to do it. Another way that people do this today is they end up, what is it? They on the UI side. So they have a V1 account and they require let's account V1 just for naming consistency. Light mode burned my eyes. Is there a way to turn this to dark mode actually? Let's see. That would be really nice actually. Background. Okay, so I can change my stroke to no, undo. I don't actually know how to change this. Is a good point. So, canvas background. None of these are nice. Everything. Hello, Arthur. Welcome. Arthur is one of the great people building on Anchor and helping out with all this stuff. All right, maybe I can just do this. Actually, that's gonna break everything. We're gonna have light mode for a little bit longer. It's, there's no easy way to, like here we go. Okay, cool. That's nice. Okay, cool. Much better. Thank you, appreciate it. Alright, another way that people do this is they do account V1 to V2. I can't hear him. I assume everybody can hear me because other people are talking about it. So I'm guessing this is your audio quality problem on your end. Okay, so let's say we have account 1 to V2. On the UX side, what they do is they just make an instruction for migration, right? So there's a IX migrate account that does the migration and is required in order to do the new instructions. I kind of like this way better because it ultimately migrates everybody over the long term, but this is not the current way that people do things. I assume other people can hear me. I hope that's not just Syria. Please let me know if you cannot hear me because otherwise I need to fix something. You gotta love stream on the. Let's see, just make sure. Yeah, it says everything's coming out. Can anybody hear me? We can hear you. Thank you, Potato. Old time dev. Uh, I'm hoping that I am audible always. All right, cool. So this is the way that a lot of people I like to see people do it. This is the way that some people do it. We could just make this built into Anchor potentially. So let's see how great. I'm having people are pinging me now. Let's close that so that we don't get Discord notifications. All right, so let's see what Armani was thinking back in 2021. This is about the time that I started building on Solana. It was in April, May timeframe. But let's see what is the expectation here. Uh, so let's see. We can change the data of an account to with a method that migrate. So this is the destroying the old one. So this is just this IX migrate, being able to do that. You will start the IDL refactoring during this week. Awesome. Great to hear, Arthur. So they're doing it the new way. So potentially put a version number in the account header. This is a really breaking change. It would have been nice to have this early on, but I think it's too breaking right now to have. I believe no one will be able to create old version of the account. Yeah, great, fantastic. And then We already have IDL versioning, but I think this might be too breaking of change. Is there estimate this will close 233? Is that mine? Yep, yep. Uh, we might have to figure out a different way of doing this. I'm not entirely I'm not convinced on this one, uh, because this is a very breaking change, and I don't know if I want to this might be not one that we include in V1 because this is too much of a breaking change. Maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's too much of a breaking change. I am going to leave it open, and we can revisit that one later. Next one, different event log format. Very unlikely to happen. Have different no. We're not gonna do this. It would be nice to ability log events in different formats like JSON or pretty log format. Yeah, just do it on the Explorer. This is not an Anchor problem. We're not gonna do this one. Appreciate you, but not today. Let's see. Add optional path parameter for wallets and provider local. Keep provider local, but pass the optional path parameter for the wallet. I think this is a thing today, right? I'm pretty sure this is a thing today. I should probably just open. Here's all my stuff. Let's just open a new window and let's go through this actually. And I'm going to start a new Anchor project. So we'll go back and I'm going to create a new Anchor project. This is going to be Anchor issues. And then we're going to go cd into Anchor issues, Anchor init test project. All right, so we're going to init a test project, and I'm going to use this one to basically test out some of these issues. Codex engine node is incompatible with this module. Interesting. That's not a fun error to run into. Oh, it's just my node is incompatible. That's fine. You can just upgrade that later. All right, cool. So let's go open a test project. You can see that how painful this is. Just uh, Anchor issues. How painful it is to clean up these issues. There's just so many of them. And if I want to test everyone and see if something is still an issue, it's a huge pain, right? All right. So, and this guy named Florian wanted to work on this way back when. I wonder who this is. I don't actually know who Florian is. He does not look like he works on Solana anymore. So that's not an option. All right. So let's go figure out if this is still an issue. Test project. I believe if we do, what is the provider.local, right? Provide cons provider. This is Anchor. Can I do this provider.local? So the Anchor provider, does that still allow me to do? So we still do local. It's a method. So what are the arguments for this? URL and string confirm options. What's the URL? That's the network. Okay. So it doesn't have a option to put in a path. Is there a different path that we can potentially have? Let's see. Provider default options. Oh, you can change the wallet. Oh, that's a read-only option though. So you can create in the constructor wallet. So can you do this in the wallet? Version transaction public key paper. Okay, so you can do this, but it's the key pair. This is the key pair. Yeah, you can okay, so you can do this. You can do this today. because you could just set it up with the you can set it up with the constructor to set the wallet, and in that wallet, you can set the key pair. So you're good. Okay, so this is completed. We're gonna close this one. We're gonna move on to the next one. All right. Parsing instructions, inverse of instruction data, ungenerated structs. Cool. Oh gosh, this is a long one. Great idea. This would be useful. Thanks. 2021. Generating instruction struct implements instruction data. After constructing one of these, I can call data to build the data for Solana instruction. Now I want to do the opposite. Given an instruction, I want to see which function the Anchor program is calling. Cool. That's great. If I know through some out of bound information what function is being called, I can slice off. Yes, you can do that, especially with Borscht. Yeah, because you can get that information from the 8 byte tag. So you should be able to get that information already. So the rest, I can try all instruction structs one by one to see which one would be called. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if this is. I don't know if I want to do this today. If I understand, this door code already generates the match statement, so but it's not exposed to clients. Yeah, it should already, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so it does the proc macro too, our favorite thing. Yeah, so this already does this. I'm going to close this one because I don't think this is a high priority for V1. It's useful, it's a helper, but I don't know if it's a high priority. So we're gonna close this, and we probably will do this in V2, but not for V1. So we're gonna close this as not planned for today. Cool. Add a call option to return to serialized logs when simulating transactions. This has not happened today. Rust version of call option. Uh, Honestly, a lot of things can potentially be needed on the Rust side. I'm gonna assume that this is good today, but we're gonna just do it as not planned, and we'll move back to it. Ultimately, like, for a lot of these things, and you'll see that I'm closing as not planned, I'm thinking about, like, okay, for what do I wanna add to V1 versus what I wanna move to V2? I'm gonna not do this one as part of V1 is, I think, what we're gonna go for. Be nice to have, but it's not like an important thing. Examples, this is not important. So we're gonna close this as not planned. Anything that's an example, it's not important anymore because we're gonna basically be doing this for later for other things. Um, Create a quick start repo with Anchor UIs embedded. Yep, we already do this. This exists. So I'm gonna close this issue. Raise error of changing data on an account without mutable. So this has always been very confusing to me, is that you can change so you can okay, well, this is not actually the issue that I'm talking about. But with Anchor, this has always been funny to me. With Anchor is that you can pull here. Now I can hear it was a Ubuntu issue. How do I contribute to Anchor V2? Anchor V2 hasn't started yet. Sorry, yeah. But Anchor V1, if you want to do, and for anybody else that's here, if you want to contribute to Anchor V1, there's a project called Anchor 1.0. These will have issues that need to be worked on for Anchor V1 to be completed. All right. So what's funny? What is this? Config custom heat. This used to be an error, and I thought we fixed this, but now it's still popping up. I wonder if it's like a new issue. I saw that there was an issue created for this recently, and it really annoyed me at this point. Um, but I saw there was a new issue. Support bun. This is already supported. Is this Paul? Who's Paul? Save there. Um, yeah. So this is already done. But we'll get to that later. Yeah. So I remember. So what's funny about this is that if you have an account, right? If you have like, um, if you have, it's just yeah, sure. Nope, that didn't work. Right. So if you have these accounts, right, this is a bunch of different accounts. If you set this as so you set this as mutable. If you set this as mutable here, you don't have to grab it. The context is mutable here, which is really confusing to me as a when I first started. It's not like intuitive, but this is not the issue that this is talking about. This is like, hey, I forgot to put a mutable above here, didn't raise an error, failed silently, raise an error. Okay, cool. So this is I created something and it did not raise an error. It just didn't update the project. Um, okay, so they implemented it in this PR, 2023. That might not be too old at this point. Let's see if okay. So Acheron has started reviewing this. Um, oh, this is a huge lot of discussion on this one. Yet you're right. Some of the mistakes are. So this looks like it's being, but we might need to figure out. It might need to be a different thing that we do rather than. But adding a brand new account, yeah, we can't do account types. It's a blocker for me account make it. Yeah, okay. So I think that they did something like they want, like he wanted to, but it's not the right approach. And that's okay. We just need to figure out what to do with that later. All right, so that's going to just go in the. I'm going to look at that later and figure that out. We'll go to the next one. Soundness hole and zero copy support. Let's point out the because pod and zeroable traits are unsafe to implement. The build succeeds with these traits when they're not implemented by interface fields. Okay, cool. State flag does not implement muck. There's another soundness hole. So I'm going to close this one because I don't think we're going to touch this one. We're going to do a bunch of this zero copy support in V2, and I think that's okay. We're going to close this for now, though. Cool. Add wallet API. I'm going to guess this isn't going to be removed because I don't care about this enough. Nope, don't care about this. Close is not planned. We're going to just keep going through this. Setting explicit side for zero copy state does not work. I'm sure this does work because I do know that syntax should work for setting an account size when initializing a PDA. Why does it not work? Let's see. Zero copy Solana. Yeah, because we do this in Anchor docs, and I believe that's exactly how you do it, if I remember correctly. So yeah, zero copy. Yeah, so you do the init, you give the space, you load it. Yeah, this seems fine. Yes, I don't know if this is an actual issue anymore. We might have to test this later. Well, but we don't do state anymore. So we're not exactly, this is old. So this is probably just not an issue anymore. We're going to close it. Yeah, a lot of these things are just going to be really old and we just don't need to touch anymore. All right, so Solana wish list, that thread of runtime features that would be awesome to have. And someone has just posted a link in my chat. Let's see what it goes to. Issues 3727. All right, let's go check out that issue. 3727. Just because you're here. All right. I expected this code to work. Oh, lots of people like this thing. Who is this? Arbitrary expression in seeds. Okay. That's an interesting one. Seeds equals PDA seeds signer. That would be awesome to have. Is this, oh, because, okay. Yeah, I don't know if this worked. This shouldn't work today. Expected, yeah, expected this code. So you're creating some kind of function that automatically adds or calculates the PDA seeds. Apparently, little brackets are not required. This would be cool. Yeah, I could see that why this doesn't work though, but it'd be really cool to have. So we're going to label it as 1.0, and if anybody wants to work on this, go for it. This would be really cool to have. But I don't think it's a requirement for 1.0. It's definitely a nice to have, but not a requirement. Okay, so we'll move on to the next issue. Okay, so Solana wish list. Let's go look at whatever this wish list is. So this is a thread by Armani back in 2021 for wish lists wish list on the runtime, which the runtime was at 1.8 back a long time ago. All right, so ephemeral accounts, we can already do this. We shouldn't have to care much about it. This would allow us to return generate CPI clients that can pass return values as one with respect to that requiring the client to. Um, I've already looked at 3727, the people that are putting it in the chat. This I put it on the board, so if you want to work on it, go for it. Without the requiring to pass shared memory accounts, which is quite a leaky abstraction. Client to pass. I think this is a requirement that you have to have this. It's not really a thing that you can do today. Okay, API to fetch the account info and account that paid for the transaction. So cheap viewers on the heck. Oh, we have some random people on Twitch posting things. That's fun. Do I have? I bet I just have no viewers on Twitch. That's okay. Yeah, I have one viewer on Twitch. I'm okay with that. Whoever wants to view me on Twitch, go for it. So let's see. API to fetch this be nice. Okay, so pass the account paid. So figuring out the account who paid for the transaction. That's basically the signer. Oh no, it's not the signer. It's not always the signer. That's correct. It's nice because some APIs like paying. That's basically what we're doing. But so this is something that a lot of people like to ask for. From the coming from Ethereum, but this is basically the signer, and you just have to do a little bit extra checks. I don't think this needs to happen on the runtime side. Yeah, I think it's fine. System program account as a dynamic sysvar. It's common to want to create a PDA or transfer line ports within a program, which requires a system program. Just add the system program. A version of the BPF program, but for accounts, we have this. Pre-execution of transactions, so clients do not need to specify. We kind of have this. We should be okay with this. I'm going to close this one because I think we're okay with this in the current state. I don't think we need anything new from this. But it's cool to see back in the day, like what was the wish list and then what actually got created. All right, event listener will not fire when creating associated token accounts. Confirm. Start addressing this here. 397. So it looks like they did fix it. Yeah, it looks like it was fixed. Cool. It was fixed. So it's good to see these things because it's just like, hey, this existed. There's someone that fixed it, and we're good to go. All right, switch to Borscht to Protobuf. No, we're not doing that. From Ian. Wow. Okay. We're not doing that though. We're actually updating. Borscht was determining budget with no upgrade really mind. Yeah, it's not it's not that great for a lot of things. Um, yeah, it's a major breaking change. V2. Armani was considering V2 back in 2021. That's interesting. That was a long time ago. Main benefit is we get from Proto's upgradable built in. Yeah, I do like that. This might be like this is probably like a V2 type of thing, but it's not a V1 type thing. V1 like this is way gone at this point. Close issue. We should probably close as not planned. Not planned. Whoops. There we go. Parse document context into description field for we should have a description field in the IDL for each instruction. We have this today, I think. So let's just do a quick look at what an IDL looks like. And we'll close cursors, fancy things, because I don't care about them anymore. Anchor build. Let's look at what the IDL looks like today. I believe we have this today, but I'm not entirely sure what it looked like. It's been a while since I've looked at the IDL. Like we got a bunch of people looking at the stream. If you're welcome to chat about any issues that you want to chat about. Just if you're on the stream on Twitter, you just have to click in the stream and then you can chat. This is for anybody that's viewing today. But I'm more than happy to chat about anything that that y'all find interesting. There's going to be a lot of issues. I know that, but we'll get through that. All right, so we are going to. This is going to build, and this is going to tell us whether or not we are good to go with the latest anchor issues. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but we're going to see. I haven't looked at. What we do need is we need a spec of the anchor IDL so that we can actually look at it and know exactly how it's looking, and know exactly what to expect. And it's also be nice to have so that I know the difference between Kodama and Anchor's IDLs. It's kind of a pain for me today, but we can manage that long term. All right, let's go look into the IDL. That was just a lot of talking to wait for the IDL. Let's go look at the IDL. So I think this already exists. There's another person posting 3709. I'll get this in just a moment, Tarun. I'm going to go through this one real quick. So this is the instruction name description. Okay, so there's no description today. Well, there's some metadata, but there's no description in the actual instruction, just the name. That's be nice to have, but I don't know if it's in a description field to the IDL for each instruction so the UIs like wallets can provide human readable descriptions of instructions. That'd be really nice to have. I'm going to put V1 nice to have, because if someone wants to build this, I'm totally going to consider pulling it in. So let's see. Someone posted in the chat 3709. Let's look at 3709. While working on the Agave test validator, but not okay. Great. So I correct. Okay, so what do they do? And if needed, the authority is whatever the buyer authority is. The authority. Okay. How is this working with not on mainnet? This looks like it should work on. Okay. Well, what's the error? What's the error? Let me know. Tarun, this is not helpful. What's error? Let me know. I don't know. What is the error? Can you be more descriptive? Hitman. So I fixed it to create an ATA in the handler. Okay, so they just created an ATA in the handler versus in the account. This should be fine. This should work. What's the error? Assignment 5, what's the error? What? What am I looking at? Doesn't work on mainnet. This doesn't look helpful. That's not my issue. Why'd you send me this, Stern? I don't know what this means. Machine learning. I should use machine learning to figure out their error. Okay, well, I'm just going to close it because this is not enough information. Is there like some assignment from the super devs thing that requires them to push errors? I don't know. Very interesting, right? What's the error? Create a macro. So yeah, that's the interesting. Don't know who this is. I wish them the best. We're gonna move on. We are not supposed to create PRs. We are not supposed to create PRs. Okay. Well, appreciate it. All right. So I put this as nice to have. Check versions on every command. We absolutely should have this. We have to solve 3709. Why do we have to solve 3709? This works. Why does it not work? Just to explore the issues. I understand 3727, but why 3709? What's the point? This works. Are you telling me it doesn't work? Because I can go write up something that shows that it works. All right. Well, let's assignments for super dev. 3727 is a assignment for super dev. I don't know what super dev is. Is this the thing that's being run by what's his name? Hardcat? Because if it is, then yeah, I go for it. I say, but like if not, whatever. Super dev not fun. What are you all sending me to? Is this the thing by Hardcat? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it is. All right. Well, we're gonna look at this later, that one later, because that is just kind of funny. All right. So this is the check CLI versions on every command. Add ability to supply key pairs for program IDs. So generate. Yeah, this already exists. This already exists in the program. So this is closed and completed. We're good there. Associated method on account's namespace should return the address as well as the account. Feedback from that often calls both these together, so it might be return associated method on account's namespace should return the address as well as the account. Yes, I agree. Why not? Let's leave it open. This is a, I'm going to ask Henry. Is this still an issue? Yeah, we'll leave it open. We'll look at this later. All right. Explicit APIs for popular wallets. No. Not planned. This is not how how Solana works today. So we're going to make this not planned. Produce compile accounts. Compile error if account's context instruction definition does not match instruction. Yes. Why does it not match today? Currently, runtime errors produced. Compiler time error would be better. So if account's context instruction definition does not match instruction, this errors today, if I remember correctly. Can you show context? Okay. So my X, the following should produce a compile time error. So they have arg1, argv. Okay, so the instruction is not okay. Got it. So let's go check if that work is still is broken. I think that works actually, and that's not good. So context arg, we'll do arg u8, and then there's the instruction arg u8. However, I want to add arg1. Let's add these two or whatever. So this should break. That makes sense, right? So this should break on anchor build. And it doesn't. All right, this is a V1 nice to have. Check the code notes and instruct methods have the same struct actually for the struct. You can just possibly reuse these. Yeah, you potentially do. So let's put this. This is not a high priority item, but it is a nice to have. It'd be nice for DevX purposes, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. Add section for client generators. Nope, not planned. Docs are in a different state than they were back then. Provide more informative error for strings given as raw constraints. Okay, so using a string literal will give non-ideal error messages. Okay, so I don't know how this is a constraint, but sure. Cannot. Okay, so let's see what happens. So we'll just do sure, we'll do a pair. There we go. Sure. That should be fine. This is because of that. And now we have all these weird things going on. And this just wants me to create my account. So pub construct my account, and we're just gonna put something in there. Yeah, sure. And then we will label this as account, and it should be drive accounts, unexpected. This is not an error though. This is just interesting. Oh gosh, cannot apply. So it's actually got an error. Well, it's just an anchor build. See if it re shows up. Yeah, yeah, okay. Unused. Okay, well let's get this arg thing out just to make sure that it's not confusing. Do not apply, to offer. Oh, so it is error. Ah, this is the error that he's talking about, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Nice to have. It's not a it's not a blocker, but it's nice to have. Still interesting that it's still an error. So we'll go for a few minutes more, just so that I can get through this. Might be add a we have this, right? This already happens. So we're gonna just close. Let's go to the next one. Page 15. Let's see. Let's refresh. How many we've gone through like only 20. So we've only gone through 5% of all issues. Yeah. Let's see. Anything else that's pressing that I can immediately just kick out? This is do not add scaffold flag. This would be cool to have. Should add a batteries included React app. Hot reloading. Hot reloading. I love that. I can upgrade the UI can direct, right? See, yes, absolutely. We should do this. Add a scaffold command. Yes, I think we should totally do this. But how we do this is kind of hard to guess. I think this would be nice. A quick question. Do we need to wait for someone to assign the issue to us or start working on it right away? Leave a comment, Tarun. Leave a comment on the issue. That's the first step. I think this would be really cool to have. And then we can move on. So this would be really cool to have. I think this it might be kind of a pain to use. At this point, like we might just need to redo the whole. We might have to redo the entire CLI just to get this thing correctly. But I mean, there's also already consideration to do that, but we just haven't done it. Combine test Genesis and test local net features. Which features? Yeah, I'm going to close because don't know what the features are that you wanted to add. Um, Move namespaces onto dynamic methods. Instead of having program namespace method, we can have program method namespace API to be more clear. This is closer to Ethereum's Web. We don't like WebGS, so that's fine. Okay, isn't this how it works today? Let's back it up a little bit. And this should build. I believe this is how it works today, if I'm not mistaken. We should be fine. So if I call this, it's program methods initialize RPC. So it's program namespace. Yeah, okay. So they just wanted to flip it. I don't care. It's not planned. Removed. There's a 1.0 blocker. No way. Not planned. It's not a not planned. IDL should be closed on upgrade. How does upgrade work today? Ideal account should be closed on upgrade. Yeah, this is not planned because we're going to do this, we're gonna do this with program metadata instead. Alright, I think that's all I have time for today. This is let's see, we went from 406 to 384. So 5% of the issues in an hour. We're working on it. It's getting through. We're getting through it. But anyways, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. This might just become like a series as we start clearing out the backlog of issues. I haven't figured out what I want to do with it all today or all yet. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining me. And hopefully I will see you later on another stream. If you do have issues, feel free to post them, create issues on the Anchor repo. We're going to try to get them out of the way as fast as possible. If you want to help out with Anchor V1, there is a board being created. Let me just share my screen one more time. So this board right here has a bunch of no status. I guess I have to move them to do a bunch of issues that we potentially could work on. Just go work on it. Like, go put a comment on it, go work on it, and start running with it. Happy to help out with anybody that wants to work on these issues. But ultimately, got to clear up this backlog. There's so many issues still in here. Uh, and we got to get V1 out the door like as soon as possible. So thank you everyone for joining me today to go through Anchor's issues. I obviously did not go through every Anchor issue. It's going to take way too long. I think that would be an hour for 5%. So that'd be like a 20-hour stream. Yeah, it's not happening today. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. If you want to help out, please go through these issues. Try to test it out. Does it still work? Does it broken? Is it broken? Can we just close this issue? Would love to have any feedback. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and